What's good? You're listening to Daniel and Gian Talk Shit UFC edition. I am Gian.
And I'm Daniel.
So last weekend we watched UFC 218. I know we've said in the past that we're going to try to review these things, and we're a little late on this, but we're getting to it. We're doing it. Better late than never.
Yep.
We're also going to talk about the fight night that's going on. I think it's Fight Night 23.
Yep, on Fox.
That's on. It's happening tomorrow night.
Yep.
But yeah, no, there's what do you think of the card, man? I liked the card.
Going into it, I liked it.
I thought it was a good card, except for the one thing. The Eddie Alvarez Justin Gaethje fight should have been the fight before the main event.
It should have been the co-headliner.
Yeah, it should have been, because it was a slobber knocker, as old Jim Ross likes to say. I think it killed the rest of the card.
Absolutely.
Because it was so crazy violent and good. And I feel like you knew it was going to happen, you know.
Yeah, Joe Rogan had been talking about it for literally months on his podcast, or well, not months, but weeks at least.
Yeah.
Everyone was saying it's the surprise fight of the night. I mean, everybody was saying it. So, I mean, if you have the experts talking about how
Absolutely.
This is the fight, then there's no way Dana White didn't know this.
And this wasn't like a star-stacked card either. Like, there was no like super main headliner in it. Even with Max Holloway being the main event versus Jose Aldo. Fucking Brazilians don't know how to say their names right. Yeah, like, so we watched the first fight. Sucked, you know, the Torres Waterson fights. You know, me personally, you know, because apparently I'm a sexist pig. Just the women fights very rarely get me excited. You know, I like Gaethje. I think even though she got knocked the fuck out,
she got demolished.
But
she'll be back.
Yeah,
she's not done.
I like her. She's exciting. Like, just on a technical level, I would put her up against men. Like, that's how
she's
good
a savage.
Is.
That's
why. But I'm just talking like footwork. You know, everything. Yeah. Like, on technically, Jesus Christ, I've never seen a woman fight like that.
She'd kill you.
You know, it's not like Cyborg, who's just a fucking monster. You know, mauling people. Like, this girl, you know,
she has a fighting background.
Yeah,
clearly.
Combinations, footworks, everything's really impressive. But the Torres karate hottie fight, you know,
it was underwhelming. I'm not going to say it sucked or anything like that, but it was just, it wasn't the best opener. No. I felt like I almost felt like you could have got an undercard fight,
especially with the Medeiros, the two Oliveira fights. I've heard nothing, but I missed them. You know, we were recording something else at the time when it was on, but everyone's saying they both won the bonuses, so we missed out on these two.
That's what I'm saying. They could have easily been
exactly.
on.
They could have opened with that. I think this is too much trying to show some representation here,
which is fine. It's okay, but you know, this fight just didn't work out.
I just feel like when you have a card like this that's already underwhelming name wise, you should stack up all your best fights on the main card.
And let's just be clear, you're not saying that the fact that they were women, they shouldn't have been on the main card. It's just they weren't of quality compared to the other people.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, the Cejudo Pettis fight was another one that was a snoozer. And it happened immediately after the Alvarez fight.
I felt like that was worse than the female fight.
It was. I'll be honest with you. Sergio Pettis, I feel like he keeps getting on the main card. I haven't seen that guy win a fight. I've yet to see him win a fight, yet they keep throwing him on there because he's Anthony Pettis' little brother.
I think, you know, sometimes that's enough to get you on there, I guess. But eventually, you won't be on there anymore.
No.
But
he's young. I mean, they keep on saying he's young. I mean, let's look it up. I have no idea how old he is.
Yeah, but so isn't Max Holloway young too? So I mean, isn't it like?
I think Max Holloway's like 27. He's in his prime.
Well, that's to me.
Sergio
to me,
Pettis
that's young.
is 24.
I mean, you still have a lot of breathing room, and you know he's fortunate enough to be fighting in the UFC.
Well, if you know that a guy's gonna have problems with wrestlers, you know that maybe you should like save them. I mean, they did what's his face dirty, the Yair Rodriguez guy.
Oh, that was terrible.
They put him up against Frankie Edgar. I mean, Frankie Edgar didn't even need to take that fight.
No, it was bad. It was just because he just wasn't ready.
Yeah,
and he was getting there too. That's the thing. He was the next hot commodity. I felt like, and then they kind of just. I mean, I don't even. When was the last time he
killed
fought?
A fighter that could build the sport in another country.
Yeah,
by feeding him to the wolves.
And sometimes that's just not. You know. Not everybody, and we're jumping the gun a little bit, not everybody's Ngannou.
Yeah.
I mean, he, for all intensive, did get thrown to the wolves fighting Overeem. In my opinion, he did.
I'm going to defend that, though. There's a difference. The heavyweight division is thin. So you you can only hide a guy for so long.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, these lower weight classes, they got tons of fighters they could throw in there.
They're stacked.
Yeah.
They're 100% stacked. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, though, that was Ngannou's first real challenge was Overeem, in my opinion.
And it wasn't much of a fucking challenge.
Wasn't much. I mean, you could just see Overeem looked scared.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion.
And as he should after he still got knocked the fuck out.
Demolished.
I mean, that was video game
that
knockout
was Tekken
shit.
knockout.
Yeah.
That was like an uppercut. That was Street Fighter uppercut. That was like he just ended his career.
In a more realistic fashion, that was Fight Night when you hit someone with that super hard shot and just you saw a lightning flash on the screen and it just immediately fell down.
It reminded me of isn't there a fighter in Mike Tyson's Punch Out that the uppercuts? And
Macho Man.
And your guy gets up. He gets uppercut and he flies back or something like. Maybe I'm misremembering it, but I feel like the point is though, we thought he was
Sandman. Actually,
we thought he was dead.
Yeah, no, that's how
that was Manny
hard.
Pacquiao
Yeah.
2.0 right there.
Yeah.
And for those who didn't see Manny Pacquiao fight Marquez, was it the first time the knockout happened?
No, it was the fourth time.
Fourth time.
And last time.
Well, sorry. What I meant to ask was that the first time because he got knocked out like twice within a few fights, right?
Pacquiao?
Yeah. Or was it just Marquez?
No, that was the first time he got knocked out like that. He got TKO'd by Eric Morales. First
it was something like but anyway, but for those who didn't witness that fight,
Manny Pacquiao was dead.
What had happened was
he was fucking legally dead for at least 3 minutes.
He had to have been. Because and the way they cut it too didn't help the suspense because they were just showing his wife.
He just ate. Yeah, he ate a shot and just fell face forward
and didn't get up.
Normally guys fall backwards. No,
they weren't cutting to him either. They weren't trying to show him either. So I was like, But that's what happened to Overeem, man. I mean, even Joe Rogan was like, he's still on the ground. He's still like.
And they ate another shot too.
Yeah. I mean, luckily it quote unquote missed. I mean, it didn't miss, but it could have been full on. You know, it's kind of like, well, what do you do at that point? That's instinct, I think. You know, you hit the guy, he falls down, fight's not over, he hits him one more time. But it's just like, what's crazy to me about Ngannou is he was fucking homeless a few years ago. Didn't know how to, this is just him, a natural, savage beast animal.
And I think they need to I mean, it fucking sucks because he's African, but they need to kind of play up that angle that this guy was homeless and now he's
I don't think it sucks that he's African.
No, that's not what I meant. I meant you're gonna get yourself into some sticky situation
by saying he's the poor black man.
By saying like he's a hungry beast.
Oh
you
yeah,
know what
okay,
I mean? Like you're gonna have to be careful with that. But I mean that you have to.
That is what it is.
You have to somehow play that angle up because that's the most interesting. Other than just being a brutal knockout artist, that part of his story is like the most interesting thing about it.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
And you also have to keep him off the fucking mic. Because, I know it's like the promo he cut, I understand that it was for, awareness about the slavery that's happening in Syria right now. But it's just like,
Libya. I think it was Libya, right?
Was it Libya?
Yeah.
Okay, Libya, Syria. Either way,
both
of them are fucked up right now. You need to, you could see Joe trying to pull the mic away, and it wasn't going anywhere.
Well, do you think? I mean, what he has?
I think somebody needs to coach him on that. He
can't be a shit talker though. If that's not in his repertoire.
No, someone's got to pull him aside because that kills that. I felt like that killed the momentum he had going because it was long too. It was long and drawn out.
I don't even remember it, to be honest with you.
I
wasn't.
I remember it was like fucking 10 minutes of him talking.
I think I was eating food at that point. But the point is though, he's about to fight Stipe January 20th. In my opinion, I feel like he's going to go in. I mean, are the odds up, the Vegas odds right now? I'd have to say he has to be the favorite going into it. I know Stipe's also a savage too, but it's like Stipe's not knocking people out like Ngannou is. He's not putting on, in my opinion. I'm not saying Stipe's bad at all. Clearly, he's a champion. He deserves to have that belt around his waist. But name me one guy who could take on Stipe that you would actually feel like he might lose. Besides Ngannou, right now in the heavyweight division,
he's -160 favorite.
So, Ngannou,
yeah.
So see, I mean,
you'd have to bet. I don't know how this shit works. I was gonna say if you have to bet $160 to make $1, but that doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm just saying, who else in the heavyweight division do you feel like would give Stipe a run for his money right now?
I mean, you always got to worry about healthy Cain Velasquez, but the guy's never healthy.
Yeah, he's not even in the picture.
Verdum's also a tough fight.
So do you feel like it was fair for Ngannou to jump from where he was to Overeem to title shot?
I think Overeem's a good test because Overeem's not going to get a title match.
So you don't think he should have fought, Verdum or something like that?
No.
Next?
No, he's not ready for Verdum. Definitely not ready for Verdum. Verdum's one of the top 3 heavyweights. Verdum deserves a title shot. If Ngannou doesn't knock Overeem out the way he does, he's not getting a title shot.
You mean Stipe? Oh, no, I hear what you're saying. No, yeah. I misheard you. So okay.
He just kind of leapfrogged Verdum.
Well, that's why I'm asking. Yeah. So do you think he deserved it then?
The thing with the UFC, like when you do something impressive like that, they might be rushing it because Stipe is well-rounded. Stipe will take you down. Stipe ain't gonna fuck.
A big boy though.
Yeah, but we're going off Overeem. Overeem's never been known as a wrestler. Overeem's a kickboxer. He was a K1 kickboxer.
And I think his chin is going in the way of like Couture.
Well, he's never had a chin, but now that the little bit of chin he has left, it's got to be
because I mean
that's not even to be fair that he just got knocked out by a fucking like a super video game punch. So, you know what I mean?
Which in the moment, I'm not even gonna lie, because you said it too, and I was thinking, I'm like, he just tapped him. It looked like a tap, but that's how when you watch it in slow motion.
Yeah.
It's like, no. He just got lightning strike.
Yeah.
But it looked like he barely tapped him on the chin and he fell over. But
yeah.
No, that's
it was an odd-looking strike live, and then you see
if Ngannou punched me, because apparently he has the record of strongest punch. Apparently there's a machine that you punch and it'll tell you, like, and everyone considers it to be accurate or whatever. If Ngannou punched me in the face, what do you think would happen to my face?
I think your face might be okay. You definitely break your jaw, but you might be in a coma. Yeah, you might be in the hospital for a few days.
How long would I not have breath if he punched me in the stomach?
Yeah, I think I'd rather take a shot to the face than the stomach.
Because you just knock the fuck out and be done.
He
with
might
it.
just rearrange your intestines or some shit. Yeah.
Punch hole right through me.
Yeah, that's oof.
I mean, because you got to think, man. Overeem Overeem would kill most people, I feel like.
Yeah.
As weak as his quote unquote
he's a champion kickboxer. He won K1.
Absolutely.
And I think he was a Strikeforce champion before. Okay, he knows how to hit. That's his thing. He hits.
Which is why
every single Dutch fighter, that's their thing. They know how to hit.
Which is why he's as old as he is and still fighting because I don't know if he's going to be done after this, because I don't know if I mean, just like Mark Hunt, at some point you got to start thinking about your long-term health, because I said it before, Overeem's been knocked out a lot of times. It's the first, second, third time. This is like the 14th time in the last 10 years or something.
Oh, is that many? So he's in double digits of being knocked out. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, Joe Rogan did a whole breakdown about how going into the fight, that was like his thing, is like he's been knocked out like 13 times previous to this,
Yeah. No, He's never been and he's never been known for having a chin either. That's
every loss I think he's had.
It's been by knockout.
It's been by knockout or like TKO.
I could see that.
It's just interesting to me that these guys. If you're Overeem, I'm not saying Overeem's rich, but I feel like at a certain point it can't be about the money anymore.
No, I think when it's the only thing you know. And
someone like Overeem,
if he's been kickboxing, let's say, I'm gonna say he's 37 or 38. He's been kickboxing since he was a little kid. It's the only thing he's done.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's like,
because you
have to have somebody when it comes to that kind of stuff. You have to have someone in your ear telling you like it's time to start investing, or he should have opened a business already. Or if he wants to stay in the fight game, maybe start training.
Well, I mean, Rumble Johnson. Well, they're saying he might come back again. He's saying he might come back.
Yeah, that guy's
heavyweight.
That guy's a flake. That guy's always had issues. The guy can never make weight. That's why he's fighting at 205. And now he's going to talk.
Well, he's talking about fighting at heavyweight now.
I believe it.
When he retired, he invested in pot business. Like, that was his thing, which is, And
then they legalized it in California, so that boom, done.
But it's just. Not everything's about fighting.
No,
for some people. Well, other people.
He also came out and said that he never considers himself a fighter.
He's just a good athlete.
Yeah, exactly, and that just happened to be the sport he was able to excel in the most. I mean, you always got to question a guy's motivation like that.
Yeah.
But final fight, This Max Holloway, Jose Aldo main event was
also underwhelming.
It didn't need to happen. It was just one-sided. Aldo needs to retire. And I mentioned it while we were watching it, but the guy was known for leg kicks. He threw two leg kicks.
He didn't throw any leg kicks.
2 leg kicks. In the fight, what did it go, 3 rounds or 2 rounds?
It went 3 rounds.
Max Holloway doesn't have one-punch power. He ain't putting you down in the first round. It's a beating you're going to take from him. And the leg kicks never got uncorked. And I'm wondering, is there something wrong with his legs?
Well, he said going into this fight he was healthy. The reason why he said he didn't throw kicks the first fight is because he wasn't healthy. And then he said this time he was healthy, so you expected he would have thrown more leg kicks. The commentators were speculating maybe he wasn't throwing leg kicks because maybe Holloway trained for him and he doesn't want to get taken down.
That's bullshit.
But I just feel
you
like
don't go away with the thing that you know.
I was going to say, if that's your strength, you're going to go to your strength. Yeah. Ngannou's not going to all of a sudden become a submission artist against Stipe because Stipe might be practicing for the punches. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Not. No.
If you want to lose, that's what you're going to do.
You invoke your will. That's how you win these fights. You make the fighters
assert your dominance.
Yeah, exactly. So
you make them afraid of you. Not that I'm a fighter, not that I would know.
No, but I mean that's the point is, like, I feel like it's time to go. It's if you can't do what you used to be like the best at. Like, we all know Aldo's just crazy leg kicks. Like, he destroyed Uriah Faber just by kicking him in the legs for 5 rounds. You know, Uriah Faber couldn't walk by the time the 5th round came around. Yeah. You know, and that was your thing, and now you're not doing it anymore.
And it would have been a more exciting fight
absolutely,
if that happened. Regardless, if he does that, and the fight still ends the way it does, at least it's a fight.
I mean, and it's another thing. Like, a lot of people like to talk about behind the scenes the USADA thing. Not saying steroids, but he's always had problems cutting weight. He's always there are fights that he kind of skated through. Like, you could see he got to the 4th round and he was fading because he just killed his body cutting weight.
He looked like he was fading in this fight.
Yeah. And, you know, the lack of using IVs, you know, since they got rid of that, I think that's affected a lot of people, especially some of these guys at the lower weight
classes. So you
classes.
think you just retire and not move up in weight?
No, I don't think he can. He's a tweener. Like, I don't see him being able to succeed because he's short. If you look at his height, he's not a tall guy. But I don't see him being able to succeed at 155. I just think, you know, it's just that 10 pounds is a lot, and those guys are a lot bigger. You know, I mean, Conor,
they're not 155. They're 170.
Connor's 5'10". You know, he's one of the taller 155ers. He was one of the bigger guys at 145.
Knocked him out.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, and that was kind of the beginning of the end for him, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jose, because, you know, you can't go from on top of the world to fighting like you are right now and still want to be considered number 1 contender, number 2, whatever the hell he dropped to.
It'll be interesting to see what his excuses are. I haven't looked them up, but these Brazilian guys always seem to have an excuse when they lose.
Oh, I wasn't fighting in my hometown of Brazil. Yeah. Let's do the rematch, see what happens then when I have the power of the people behind me. But, you know, overall, Alvarez and Ngannou, I'm not going to say the fight was worth the money. I don't think it was. I think it was hyped up definitely going into it. I was excited for it, but
yeah, it wasn't one of those cards.
Yeah.
And it didn't live up to, you know,
the hype.
I mean, you could argue that Alvarez Gaethje fight was worth the money all by itself.
It was.
You know, where it was positioned is what affected it.
Yeah. If that was co-main event, but the thing is, like, you can't not have Ngannou's fight be the co-main event, you know, because that's what it is. So maybe it should have been Alvarez, Ngannou, and then Holloway. I don't know. But the point is, Alvarez, I feel like, to just close off the 218 discussion, I don't think you could say the same thing that you said about Jose about Eddie Alvarez.
I think,
you know, maybe he had one good fight. Maybe this is just like an outlier or something.
I think Eddie Alvarez he's a bit one-dimensional, I think, and that's what's going to kind of affect him going on. I mean, he's Will. Yeah, and how many more of those grueling wars can you go through?
I don't know.
You know,
because he
looked like shit at the end of the fight.
The last few fights, I feel like he's been doing that. He's been grinding through it, and he just toughs it out, and then to that point where he can lay that, like, you know, obviously this fight was that knee, but I mean, You grind it out until you get that opportunity.
And that works against a certain level of fighter, but
didn't work against Conor.
Because Conor's on a different level.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
So I don't think Alvarez will ever become champion again.
No.
But I think he can still fight and be competitive.
I mean, I'd love to see him versus Tony Ferguson. Maybe because Tony Ferguson's kind of got that wild side to him where he might engage in a brawl like that. Yeah, but like someone like
just as a spec, not because you want him to become champion again.
No. I think he has a better chance against someone like Tony Ferguson because he's got a screw loose and he'll do something.
He'll trigger him.
He might do something stupid, like he might want to go brawling. Than he does versus like Khabib, who the only thing he does is take people down and hump them, and he's really good at it. But if the guy can ever make weight again at 155 anyway, I don't see that going so well for him versus a Khabib. Whereas Tony Ferguson, I think the fight would be a little bit more competitive.
If you talk that right amount of shit, and then once you get in the ring and make each other hate each other, and you're gonna just start throwing down.
Also because Tony Ferguson he has a chip on his shoulder and feels like he needs to impress the fans,
assert his dominance.
He wants to be exciting. He wants that big money. He wants to get those fights. I think that would be a better matchup for him. But it's when you're taking ass whoopings, at a certain point you got to consider if I'm going to be a gatekeeper for the rest of my career. Now the end of my career, do I want to do this? Because all you're there for is to make exciting fights and possibly lose, so that younger up and fighters can put you on their resume.
And every single fight that you do fucks your life up. In the future.
Absolutely.
Because you can. You go through a few battles like this when you're 25, 26. All right, you're still going to be screwed up later on in life. But if you get out in time, like for example, like Brendan Schaub, look what he's doing now with his career.
Oh, yeah.
I still feel
his podcast and his stand-up is bigger than he ever was as a fighter.
And that's okay. That just shows there's more to the game than just fighting. If you have a personality, if you have a microphone, if whatever. But I still think he's going to see some ramifications of the fights he had. Is it going to be as extreme as other fighters? No. But there's definitely, I just feel
he doesn't even talk about it now. He might already be feeling something from it,
And that's, maybe he's hiding it because he doesn't want to have that attention.
Although, to be fair, the MMA fighter versus boxer, that's different because you're not allowed to take as much punishment in MMA as boxers do. The whole getting knocked down and giving 10 seconds to stand back up so that you can get your ass whooped a little more. It's different. And, I think that's going to do it for 218. But before we hop into the UFC Fight Night, there's a big fight happening on Saturday. And it's for free if you have cable on ESPN. And that's Vasily Lomachenko versus Guillermo Rigondeaux.
Boxing?
Yeah. This is a huge fight. Lomachenko is... A lot of people think that he's the best pound for pound.
Is this a part of their new Top Rank deal?
I think so. I don't know who Lomachenko's signed with, but
you know what I'm talking. The whole free, they're trying to bring back boxing. To TV.
This is Garrity, if you're listening, you should be on this right now. This is a huge fight that if you have time to watch it, don't miss it because it's Rigondeaux he's a Cuban fighter exiled a few years ago. Gets no fucking respect from the media because his styles, he's kind of odd, technical, counter puncher. He's not super exciting. He doesn't speak English either, so he gets flagged for that. I actually had a discussion, not a full discussion, but I made some comments about this. Mexican fighters get away with not speaking English because they have such a huge fan base supporting them with the Mexicans here in the United States. And it also helps that they're not black. Rigondeaux is definitely African, African origins from Cuba. So he's not going to get, I don't think he's going to get that same fair shake, that other fighters that don't speak English might get. But he's world class. And Lomachenko, there's people out there that think he's the best pound for pound fighter on the planet. I think they're fighting at 130. So it should be a good match. Both technically sound fighters, both very talented fighters. And it's free if you have ESPN. So definitely watch it.
If you guys are really interested in boxing, follow Garrity's boxing newsletter.
Yeah, we'll have a link in the description if you want to check it out. But he's definitely way more in depth on the boxing stuff than we are. But FS1, Fox Sports 1 main card on Saturday. I like how they do the prelims on the same channel. Like, just why don't you just make it one big long card?
Yeah, I don't understand why they divide it up either. But it is what it is.
I mean, these.
Oh, this isn't the Fox card. This is Fox. Next week is Lawler versus Dos Anjos on Fox.
Oh, that's a barn burner right there. Yeah, this card. I'm not gonna even lie to you guys. I only know Cub Swanson and Brian Ortega. I don't know the rest of these people at all. And that means that there'll probably be some kick-ass fights. There's nothing better than unknown fighters finally getting on TV.
It's actually my favorite.
Trying to make a name for themselves.
To be honest, it is my favorite when there's a bunch of unknowns, because not only do you get to see them break out, if they decide to break out the particular night you watch, but for the most part, when you see big names fight each other, at least lately, I've been walking away disappointed. I mean, I can't really name you too many fights where you had big people actually step up to the plate and give you an interesting fight.
Right.
Just think about, I know this, everyone else has harped on this a million times, but just think about Tyron Woodley. Like, him and Wonder Boy should have been, for all intents and purposes, a knockout fight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It just wasn't.
No.
And, so that's a disappointment. That, that's not the only disappointment, but you get my point. Even on 218, you have the disappointing title fight at the end of the fight, or at the end of the card out. It's just like, names mean only so much. You have...
And Tyron Woodley's not a
right,
name.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Everyone else has harped on it. But even GSP and, what's his name? Bisping.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most entertaining fight, in my opinion. It was a nice return to form for GSP. It's nice to have him back. But let's be realistic. GSP's never going to fight at that weight class again, in my opinion. So, it's like... He's not really he's the champion, but he's not really the champion. He's not going to defend the damn thing.
No, he's going to give it up.
So it's just like, okay, well, what did that really give the fans? His return, cool, but also caused Bisping to get knocked out 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
And now potentially, now he's not really going to have that farewell that I feel like Bisping deserves, because he's a savage.
I mean, I think he's going to get back on that London fight. He's going to get on that card. Somehow.
Maybe, but you gotta think, man.
Yeah.
My point is, though, it wasn't the best fight.
No, that these main events aren't holding up. Part of it has to do with just guys like Woodley. It took him so long to get to the top that he's playing it safe now because he doesn't want to lose it. And that sucks, because it's like you're not gonna make any more money by fighting that way.
Because you're not going to be a hot commodity.
No, like nobody wants to watch you fight right now.
If I were Dana White, and I'm sure he's talked about this, he doesn't belong on main cards anymore.
No.
Throw him on Fight Pass. Throw him on... I'm serious, man. Like, you can't throw him that low because he's a champion, but throw him on the prelims.
No, his last 2 fights were that bad.
He doesn't deserve to be on a main card. I would not... If he was headlining, I probably wouldn't pay for it.
Right.
Unless you have a stacked card beneath him.
Yeah, he's definitely not worth a headlining slot.
And it's not anymore, Yeah, he has impressive knockouts. Yeah, he has intense power. Yeah, he's a great gifted athlete. But if you can't perform to the standard that people expect you to be as a fucking champion, then you don't deserve it.
I mean, if you look at his resume, it's not all that impressive. I think, he knocked out a 90-year-old Josh Koscheck. He leg kicked the shit out of Carlos Condit. Then he lost to Rory McDonald. I think Rory McDonald dominated him in that fight too. That was 3 years ago. Then he knocked out Dong Hyun Kim, the stun gun.
Why isn't he fighting right now? Woodley.
I
feel like he hasn't fought in a long time.
He fought in July.
No one's talking about his next opponent.
No, I think he may have talked himself into a corner. And I think he's also trying to hold out to get a big fight. But nobody wants to watch this guy fight, who now? I mean, I don't even know who he'd fight in 170, to be honest with you, because maybe he gets a rematch with Robbie Lawler, even though he knocked him out in the first round. I think that Robbie Lawler fight really got to his head. Like, oh, I knocked out Robbie Lawler in the first round.
So I'm the shit now.
Yeah, I won the title. Like, pay me. But you haven't done that fight since.
Nope.
You've had 3 fights, and they've all been,
duds.
Yeah, a bit boring. Shit. Maybe Kelvin Gastelum can
knock him out.
Yeah, maybe they can rematch. They fought once, and it was a split decision. They're both short guys fighting at 170.
But see, then you bring into the question I asked earlier about Ngannou deserving his title shot, which you feel like he does. I feel like he does, but Kevin wouldn't deserve a title shot from where he is. Yeah, he knocked out Bisping.
I mean, at some point though, like he cleared out the division, and once you clear out the division, they're gonna have to find someone to fight you. You know,
Kelvin?
No, Woodley's cleared out the division so
okay.
far. I mean, the only fight that really makes sense is GSP cutting weight and getting back down to 170. But I think if we see GSP again, it's going to be a while because he's going to want to naturally get himself back down.
Well, he's older, and I think he's realized that he can't go through that whole weight cutting thing.
Exactly. He's going to want to take his time to get there. And then does GSP want to fight?
I don't know.
Woodley.
Maybe GSP becomes one of those once-a-year fighters. I'm only going to fight in New York, Madison Square Garden, or Toronto or something. You know what I mean?
And he probably doesn't want to do it against Tyron Woodley. You know? So that's a lot of things to consider when it comes to these upcoming matchups. But no, back to that fight card. Shit, what can we say? I mean, I'm excited for this Cub Swanson Brian Ortega fight because Ortega looks kind of weird. And then he pulled off an awesome finish his last fight, and I was like, okay, this dude's for real. I don't know what his nickname is T City.
I don't know what that means.
He's from L.A.
I know. I don't know what that means.
Torrance? Is he from Torrance?
I hope not. Means? That'd be a weak name if that was
T City.
Yeah, I've never heard that before in my life. He was born in San Pedro. That is interesting. I did not know that. Yeah, he's fighting out of Torrance. Fighting out of Torrance, California. I did not know that. He grew up in Section 8 housing. Well, now I'm definitely interested to watch this fight more than ever because I didn't know. I genuinely did not know that. Now
Daniel's trying to support one of his own.
No, definitely not. Because if he's calling Torrance T City, I definitely want him to lose. I'm not even kidding.
I just know he knocked the fuck out of Clay Guida. That's the fight I saw, and he's good with the submission game. He's a young guy. I mean, Cub Swanson, you know,
he's a black belt BJJ. So
we talked about gatekeepers, and I think Cub Swanson's one of those gatekeepers. You know, he never seems to win that big fight, but he's always
a stepping stone someone has to pass through if you want to be taken seriously.
Exactly, and he fights. He comes to brawl. He's exciting, you know.
Which is good. And that, you know, I don't want every fight to be a savage freaking, you know, slugfest. Because it makes the slugfest that much more special when they do happen. But I
like action-packed fights. I like competitive fights. If it's not going to be a slugfest, I need it to be like
competitive.
Good, yeah, like a technicality too, like where it's impressive. You know, I don't want to see one guy taking the other guy down and holding him down.
You don't want to see fucking Woodley just applying pressure on the fence.
Exactly. I hate it when dudes just hold a clinch. It's a clinch clinic.
And to be honest, you know, I'm gonna be honest. I'm on the DC train now. I kind of like him. You know, I think it's the all the commentating that he does. Like he's kind of opened up, been a little more lighthearted, and I like DC now. But the last few DC fights, you know, especially even the last fight against John Jones, he tried to just hold him against the cage, just use his weight. It didn't work out for him because he got knocked the fuck out. But, you know, we talked about this before. We always see DC.
Well, he's dirty boxing. And, I mean, this might be because I'm not a John Jones fan. So, like, I thought it was exciting because I felt like he won the first 2 rounds.
Who, DC?
Yeah. So maybe the fight was boring as shit, but because he was winning, I was like,
I didn't think the fight was boring at all.
Yeah, but no, that's like his dirty boxing. He's knocked people out. But if we're gonna criticize DC,
he's not using his wrestling game.
He definitely isn't, and he hasn't finished anyone in a while. You know, that's like.
Depending if you believe John Jones, you know, his record should be basically stripped. He's undefeated.
Did that get overturned to a no contest?
The last one, I believe so. Yeah. Because he's the champion. DC's the champion. So.
Yep, no contest.
So, I mean, but DC's undefeated.
I mean, I'm lying. He did sub Anthony Johnson.
Who, DC?
Yeah.
That was a boring fight.
Well, it was fast because Johnson basically gave up.
Yeah, that was a disappointing fight because I thought Rumble.
The Silva fight was a bad fight.
But, you know, like I said, I like DC, though. I like his personality and everything. I mean, we keep getting off the Fight Night card. I don't really know what else.
We don't know.
I don't know the fighters. Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. You know, That's USC stacked with fighters, and you don't see them all too often.
I feel like if you're new to MMA, you're just getting into UFC. These like fight night cards are good introductory cards because you're gonna you can actually like find new fighters and like kind of grow with them.
Yep.
And get into the sport. And like if you don't want to spend $60 on a card where you don't know anyone on it, I mean, it's the way to go.
Hey, I watch them every Saturday. People complain about oversaturation and too much UFC. I say fuck you because I like it.
It's like a real sports league.
I mean, it really is because you're not seeing the same fighters every week.
Absolutely not.
You're not. I mean, the next time you see any of these fighters will be in a few months.
I think the oversaturation comment has more to do with pay-per-views than it does these other fights.
I mean, they're only doing them once a damn month.
Well, there's a few times they've done two.
Well, yeah, in December they do two.
And in July they've done two before. Like
it has taken advantage of
They need to cut back. I think they need to cut back to like maybe 8 pay-per-views a month or a year, excuse me, and then just do more like Fox
bigger
cards or FS1 cards. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
like your pay-per-views should only be like your super fights. They need to figure out how to make money from this. I mean, WME it's WME that owns them, right?
Yeah.
They need to figure out how they can make money without doing pay-per-views because
I think personally what I feel like really needs to happen is Bellator needs to take off. They need to become more successful. Yep. You create.
Well, they're starting to steal fighters. There's like
that's what I'm saying.
Young fighters. At first Bellator only had dudes that were like towards the end of their career. There's young, up-and-coming guys going to Bellator. There's guys that were established UFC fighters.
Exactly, and that's my point. And then Bellator gets big enough where they can hold a pay-per-view on Saturday and actually have a competition there. UFC is going to have no choice but to make sure that their card is stacked.
Right.
They're not going to put on some weekies on their actual pay-per-views.
Right.
Because they're not. Because they need that. So for me personally, I feel like that's what needs to happen. Is Bellator needs to grow bigger.
No, I'm with that.
And plus, at the end of the day, as a consumer, I don't give a fuck if you're Bellator or UFC. I mean, I like UFC.
I just want to watch good fights.
I like UFC because I actually like the way the octagon looks.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, as opposed to the Bellator octagon.
Well, the presentation is definitely a big aspect. It's back in the day, back in the 90s when there was the Monday Night Wars. Even though like WCW was winning a lot of the ratings, I thought the actual product itself was better in WWE. It's always better.
It was.
Like the presentation.
But I watched WCW.
No, I watched them both, but just like the lighting, the stage setups, the entrances, it just looked like more WCW still looked
gimmicky.
Yeah, WCW still looked like independent league wrestling at some points.
But to give WCW credit, man, WCW was doing innovative shit before WWE was, in my opinion. You have that
they go back and forth, though.
Multi-level like chamber fights or whatever, like that movie Ready to Rumble. They were doing shit like that though, which I liked. I thought that was entertaining.
You like their gimmicks better.
I did absolutely. It just was more, and they would do things like, oh, we're doing our pay-per-view in Florida or whatever, and they'd have palm trees all over the arena because they wanted to simulate, like they do shit outside.
At the beach, bro.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
Like I like that stuff, but I was also fucking 8 years old, so
it's different, different perspective. But I think that's gonna do it for us, guys. Thanks for watching. We're probably gonna do a review on this fight card next week sometime. Hopefully Monday. It'll come out Tuesday. The drill. Smash that like button, ring that bell, leave comments, make sure to subscribe. Let us know what you think, and we will see you next time.